We're good to go. Hey, welcome everyone. We'll call our meeting to order. It's just a little after 4, and we're glad to have everyone back. We have a little bit of a break. So we'll begin with our land acknowledgement statement that the Ganaraska Conservation Authority respectfully acknowledges that the lands in which we gather are situated within the traditional and treated territory of the Mississaugas and Chippewas of the Anishinaabeg, known today as the Williams Treaties First Nations. Our work on these lands acknowledges their resilience and their long-standing contributions to the area. We are thankful for the opportunity to live, learn, and share with mutual respect and appreciation. Is there anyone with any disclosure of continuing interest? Anyone? Seeing none. We have the minutes of the June 15th meeting.
So moved. Yeah.
Moved by Randy, seconder. Seconder by Adam. Anyone with any comments or questions? All in favor? That's carried. Adoption of today's agenda. Can we move it for that, please? Moved by Miriam, seconder Joan. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Any business arising from the previous minute? Anyone? None. Delegations. I'd like to welcome Mr. Adam Yan, and he's a resident of the Glen Watford Road in Coburg, and the Pebble Beach in Glen Watford Forest and Wetlands. So Adam, I'll leave it to you to do your presentation, please.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you everyone for allowing me to speak with you today. As previously mentioned, my name is Adam Yan, and I'm a resident on Glen Watford Road in the west end of Coburg. The reason I'm presenting today is regarding the Pebble Beach, Glen Watford Forest and Wetlands. The area that I'm referring to is bordered by Canadian National Rail to the north, town limits Bob Carr Road to the west, Lake Ontario to the south, and Glen Watford Road to the east. Using the calculations that I'm about to share on the screen, we're talking about 65 acres of land, or 63.5 acres of land, I should say, that I'm looking to speak with you about. This is an area that's undeveloped and a natural home to threatened and endangered species, or species on the species at risk in Ontario list, including monarch butterflies and American bumblebees. By way of background, in terms of the ownership of the land, there are some lots that are owned by speculative developers and other private residents. But according to the recent tax sale list from 2006, a lot of the land actually remains in the possession of the town of Coburg, approximately 27 of the 49 parcels of land. The majority of the land is located at the center of the highlighted area provided to you. The reality is that it's not possible for residential development in this area because of environmental considerations, including the proximity to the lake, wetlands, and creek. In fact, this is why a large portion of the property is within the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority's regulated area. It's ecologically sensitive. Earlier this month, I had the opportunity to present a petition for my neighborhood to Coburg Town Council. In 3 days on the long weekend, we had 107 people sign the petition, calling on the town to do 3 things. First, we asked staff to study the Pebble Beach, Glen Watford wetlands and forested area to explore the feasibility of a building and walking trail. Second, we asked the town to place a moratorium on any permitting or construction within the area to give staff sufficient time to study the feasibility. Third, we asked the town to engage the County of Northumberland, the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority, Northumberland Land Trust, and other community groups to explore the acquisition and conservation of the land within this wetlands and forested area. Since the presentation, we continue to get signatures from our direct neighborhood, and then another about 580 people have signed the same petition via change.org. As a result of our petition, Town Council passed a motion asking that the delegation be referred to staff for study and consideration, and that the delegation be considered as part of the town's official plan review set to take place next year. This was an important first step for our neighborhood, and we're grateful for the town of Coburg's support. Unfortunately, further consideration in the work on our proposal will only take place if an application for development is made in that area or when the town reviews the official plan. It is our neighborhood's hope that some proactive work can take place in the interim. It will take many conversations to give this idea proper consideration, and it should be done without the pressure of a development application hanging over the heads. This is what brings me before you today. Our neighborhood is asking the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority to proactively work with the town of Coburg and Northumberland Land Trust to explore the acquisition and conservation of the land. In speaking with everyone while collecting signatures, the acquisition and conservation part is the most paramount concern. Here's just one of the many comments that we received going door to door and online via the petition. I used to live on Glen Watford for 40 years. My children spent many times wandering through the forest in the summer and winter and having a great time outside and so close to Lake Ontario. Please don't ruin this area for future generations and the livelihood of all the animals and wildlife that call that area home. There are a number of third-party groups that work in the acquisition and conservation space, like the Northumberland Land Trust and the Nature Conservancy of Canada. A partnership between the Land Trust, GRCA, and town could bring forward endless possibilities. You just have to look to what the school board did with the Northumberland Land Trust at the Outdoor Education Center on Telephone Road. The town of Coburg is short on natural forested walking trails within the town limits, and we would benefit from another conserved space for residents to exercise and enjoy. A walking trail through this conserved property offers outdoor learning opportunities for local schools during the week and families to hike on the weekend. The neighborhood already has become a frequent destination for active users due to our neighborhood's loop design and the construction of designated bike lanes on King Street West. Imagine having the opportunity to bike or walk to this trail and enjoy the beauty that nature has to offer. But not only is nature important for our well-being, but it's also critical to helping us adapt to what dramatic weather changes that we're experiencing. In my conversations to many folks, including local councillors, I keep getting asked, why now? Well, the reality is that over the past few months, we've seen stalwart homes attempt to take matters into their own hands without any permits. It's been a situation of asking for forgiveness being easier than asking for permission. For example, they took down a guardrail at the end of Ravensdale Road and then added their own gate. They then proceeded to dig up and disturb the area leading to the creek. Thankfully, they were stopped in order to restore the area, but the work will not stop. In conclusion, we have the opportunity to do something special as a community and provide another amenity to the town of Coburg, but also Northumberland County as a whole. Our neighborhood is excited about the opportunity and committed to working with the town, Conservation Authority, and any other third-party groups to make it happen. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak with you, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you, Adam, for your presentation. Questions for Adam at this point? Any questions? Joe?
It's your, Mr. Chair, to Adam. When I look at the map, there are some houses fronting the water shore or the shoreline. Is that correct?
In the area that there are lots that were sold and are privately held along the water directly, where in the area that we're speaking about, yes. There's no houses currently, there's just lots that are owned.
Oh, I thought I seen some buildings.
Those would be pre-existing houses in our current neighborhood's development.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant. So that is just skirting that area. Okay.
Correct. It borders the area that we're referring to.
Thank you.
Further questions, Miriam?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for your presentation, Adam. In the submitted report that was part of our agenda, there was a second map that had orange on it, but it wasn't clear to me what that signified.
Yep, for sure. So this is actually from the GRCA's website. This is the restricted area for the GRCA.
Being the regulated area?
Sorry, I said restricted, I meant regulated, yes.
Okay.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, that is the mapped regulated area. I will say that there is some errors on this mapping because there is a water course in behind Glen Watford Boulevard. And that would also be encompassed within a regulated area, but where there's a discrepancy between the mapping and the written text of the regulation, the written text takes precedence.
So if I may,
Sure,
to
yeah.
clarify, then this is high level. It would be prudent before anything is cut or moved in there that a proper
Anything. Sorry.
that's okay. So that water course be identified and
Correct. Yeah. So anything within a GRCA regulated area would trigger the need for a permit. Any kind of development, alteration to a water course, or interference with wetland. Sorry.
Any further question? Anything else, Maria?
Well, I have a question to staff because it's not clear to me. I don't know if this is appropriate.
We'll go back to that, and is there any questions for us?
There, I think.
First?
That's the
Okay.
jet on the left.
Yeah, with Lance, yes, Lance, you have a question?
Yes, thank you, through you, Chair. Thank you very much, Adam, for your presentation, by the way. That was very informative. In respect to acquisition, do you have like any guesstimation as to what the cost for that would be?
I would have to, we have a couple of ideas. I don't want to give you a number until we do a little bit more additional research. So if I can respectfully ask to get that number back to you at a later date, that'd be helpful.
Any further questions? Anyone? There be none, Miriam, I'll let you follow up for your question for staff.
Yes, a question of clarification. If, which Adam has alluded to, they saw some work which they questioned whether it was allowable or whether if there had been a required permit. Perhaps could staff just summarize, if there's a question by a resident like this, what is the protocol for who do they contact to find out if there had been a permit issued, whether a permit is needed, that sort of thing?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yes, the residents can contact myself or staff. If you have an info ad for an email, or they can call our main line. Usually I would be the one to respond to any kind of violation or potential violation of ongoing works development on or within a regulated area. I will say in this particular instance, the Conservation Authority was contacted, and we went out and met with the landowner, and they are actively pursuing a permit with the Conservation Authority at this time.
Does that help? Yeah. Okay, any further questions? Well, again, Adam, thank you very much for your presentation, and I believe we have a motion here, or a recommendation that we receive this for information, and that we refer the information from the presentation to staff. Can I have a mover to do that, please? Jones, second by Adam, all in favor? It's carried. Correspondence, we have the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing proposal of return lands in Ajax to the Greenbelt. Linda, are you going to speak to this?
No, I really wasn't going to receive for information. I did not listen to the news today, but I believe there was an announcement or something this afternoon. One of the staff came in to my office and said that there has been an announcement from Mr. Ford's office, or Mr. Ford saying he was returning the lands. So I don't know. I'm not going to speak to this right at the moment. It's to receive for information.
Yes. Okay, so thank you, Linda, and can you maybe follow up if you do hear anything, maybe send an email to our board so we have a.
I'll send a link to the news announcement.
Great, thank you. Can I have a mover for this thing to receive for information purposes? And Vicky, seconder Tracy. Any other comments or questions on this? All in favor? Carried. And we have applications under the Ontario Regulation 168-06. And they've been approved by the executive. Can I have a motion to receive them for information purposes, please?
So
Randy, seconder by Mark. Any questions on any of the permits? Anyone? No, they're being done. All in favor? Good. We'll go down to our committee reports. We have the Ganaraska Forest Recreational Users Committee minutes, and those are September the 7th. And I have a mover to receive these for information on the floor. Mover, please. Jones, seconder Lance. Anything from these minutes? Miriam, question? Yeah.
Yes, just a question of clarification. I believe somewhere it mentions that the Forest Users Group reports environmental concerns to the GRCA. And It's at the last page, no, and it says furthermore, GRCA is requesting that recreational users committee continue to gather and share users' environmental concerns with GRCA recreation technician. Someone just speak to that. So my question pertains to if there is an express concern, does the reporting trigger an investigation? Or someone staff looking into that concern? Is that how that works? And is there reporting back to the users committee?
Through you, Mr. Chair, Ed was supposed to be in attendance at this meeting and he is not here. I am not sure if Lance is able to answer there is a staff report, so apparently there's a staff report that speaks to this and they are on the website, but perhaps through you, Mr. Chair, I'm not sure if Lance is able to speak to this, if he was in attendance at that meeting.
Lance, do you have any further information you can give us?
I wish that I could. Unfortunately, the previous meeting, I was in Ottawa for the OEMC conference. So I did send my regrets to not be able to attend. My hopes were that Maureen McDonald was supposed to attend and she got her dates incorrect, so she wasn't able to attend. I was hoping to get some follow-up minutes from her, but I've yet to receive them. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine. Perhaps we can make a follow-up for the next meeting.
Yes, I'm just leaving a message to see Ed does have the link. If I see him come on, then then we'll be able to get that answered. But otherwise, I will do a follow-up. I'll make a note to follow up on.
Any further questions on the committee report? Joan, yes?
Through you, Chair, Mr. Chair, I was just wondering, I was looking at the Ontario Trail Riders Association. Is the Northumberland Trail Riders Association, do they go in there as well? Or is it just this one, or do they marry, or how does that work?
Through you, Mr. Chair. The terms of reference for the Recreational Users Committee calls for representatives of each user group. So this user group, the Ontario Trails, is the equestrian group.
Oh, this is the horse.
Yeah.
Yes. So we have, even though the Ontario Trail Riders Association, Jim Pearson represents, he's who they've chosen for their representative, but he represents all equestrians, and the same thing with ATV riders or the representatives. They don't just represent the club that they may be associated with, they represent the use. So and each use has one representative if they filled that.
So any user, like an equestrian user, can go to Jim Pearson, I believe,
Yes.
and lodge any concerns or issues that they may have.
Or compliments.
Or compliments, yes, by all means.
But there wasn't an ATV person at this one?
Yes, the Ontario Federation of ATV Clubs, Carolyn Richards, she's the representative
Oh, I
for
missed that
ATV.
one. Okay.
Yeah, and then there's orienteering. You can see the whole list of who the riders are.
Okay, great, thank you.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chair, I am admitting Ed Van Osh,
Oh,
so
okay.
he will be able to, as soon as he connects to audio.
Sure.
So I believe Ed is on. So Ed, through you, Mr. Chair, one of our members of the board has a question on the minutes of the user committee.
Are you there, Ed?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Great, thank you. Hi, Ed. Miriam, are you able to repeat that question again?
I think so, Mr. Chair. Through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ed, for joining us. I have a question with regards to environmental concerns that are reported to the Recreational Users Committee. And right at the end of the minutes on page 4, it says, furthermore, GRCA is requesting that Recreational Users Committee continue to gather and share users' environmental concerns with GRCA recreation technician. What my question has to do is what is the normal protocol once this information has been submitted and gathered and passed on to the GRCA technician, is there a reporting back on that environmental concern? How is it addressed somehow? Like, how does the forest users group get feedback on an expressed concern?
So how it's generally worked here is a recreational user representative would bring their concerns from their individual group members directly to myself. If it's to me before the 10-day prior to the meeting cutoff, we can bring it up during the meeting. So it might be something as simple as somebody's seen a species in the property and they usually haven't seen that species on the property. So they wanted us to do some sort of a discussion about it and bring it up in the RUC. So it's just a way of the RUC and the public to inform the GRCA about concerns that maybe staff aren't seeing directly or don't have the ability to be out in the forest and see that, where we have so many different eyes out on the property. And by the way, of the public or of our recreational user committee.
If I may, a follow-up. So is this information tracked and available publicly? Or
Okay,
it's, are you suggesting that it's minuted if it's brought up 10 days before?
yes, and we discuss things during the meeting as well. People bring up, there's an open forum during the meeting to discuss other topics, and all of those discussions are recorded in the meeting, in the minutes. And if there's something that does pique the interest, it's staff can go back and look into further if it's deemed necessary or if it's deemed of interest by the GRCA.
Yeah, just the reason I asked the question was I just don't know if it's something interesting. I don't know how far, I don't know if I would find out about it, if it's good or whether the board.
Through you, Mr. Chair, again, all the user committee meetings are videoed, so they're recorded, so they're on our website. So that's the best method that we have of if people are interested in tuning in or like in watching them. You can watch the recording, and then any concerns that were brought forward would be discussed at that meeting. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any further questions on the committee report? All in favor to receive it for information? That's carried. And next up, we have a new business. So we have a municipal memorandum of understandings as per regulations 687-21, and we have a staff report attached. Financial report.
Yes, I will, Mr. Chair. So as most are aware, because I've visited your councils along with Tori and Ken on June, July, August, and then we did a couple in September, to speak about we actually did an introduction to the GRCA because we hadn't been there since the election. And then we spoke about the updated legislation as the Conservation Authority Act has changed, and the regulations of 686-21 and regulation 686 or 687-21. 686, the transition plans or the mandatory programs and services, and 687 calling for a transition plan and the need now for a memorandum of understanding. So the memorandum of understanding takes the programs and services, which again we'll be looking at after. It's a follow-up to February 2022 listing that categorizes them in category 1, 2, and 3. So it takes our budget, and you'll recall at the last budget meeting, we changed the look of the budget because it just became cumbersome a little bit when we were looking at putting them in categories 1, 2, and 3, and so we've changed the look of the budget so that everything is categorized in category 1, 2, and 3. All of the general levy that your municipalities provide to the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority falls into category 1. So category 1 is a mandatory program and services category. There is no memorandum of understanding required for category 1 programs and services. The memorandum of understanding are required for categories 2 and 3. Categories 2 being those programs that a municipality reaches out to us and we partner with them, and they provide funding through normally through benefiting levy, but sometimes we're able to access some federal monies or some other provincial monies that we can team up with the municipal money. Category 3, the only program that the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority has in program 3 that requires funding is our Clean Water Healthy Lands Financial Assistance Program. And Port Hope is in that program, as well as Hamilton Township, as well as Durham Region is in that. And that's a self-funded program. The other program that does fall into that, our tree planting does, but again, that's self-funded through user fees, and our education program, self-funded through user fees from schools. So looking at the memorandum of understanding, we now have to have a memorandum of understanding for all category 2 and 3 programs. So Ganaraska, because we have our outdoor education program, and if in any given year, and I'm going to say this, but we won't be doing it for this year. We know a strike is coming. We're quite prepared. We know a strike, the budget. We have funds set aside to help with the strike that's imminent, that will affect the outdoor education program. However, if there was a situation within the term of this MOU, and it's a 5-year term that's renewable, if there was a situation where something out of the ordinary happened that we were not expecting, that we needed a little bit of funding, that this memorandum has a clause in it that says, Ganaraska, you can transfer a maximum of 3% of the general levy into that category 3. So for 2023, that would have been a maximum of $37,000 from all, the $1.2 million levy. So it's $37,000. We're not going to do that every year. It's a contingency of a clause. So therefore, we're going to be asking all the municipalities to be signing this. In some cases, that 3% may be only $100 that we're asking. In some cases, it could be $8,000, but it's based on no more than 3% of your levy dollars. So again, we're going to be asking all our municipalities to sign a memorandum of understanding. The memorandum of understanding has been developed. It's included with your package. It has been developed in consultation with many of our eastern CAs, and we share all of Haldeman. We share some other CAs, so we've been in consultation. Not all of them have this contingency, but nobody else has an outdoor education facility either. We're the only one within our neighbors. So we've got the wording and the terms in consistency with our neighbors. We've also sent this through to Doug Mann, our lawyer. He's vetted it, he's looked at it, and he's comfortable with it. So now what we're asking to do is that the board allow us Schedule A. It's blank right now, or you don't even have a copy of it. It's because it's a blank document. It's going to be showing all of the 2024 estimated projects. So for instance, with the, I'll use the town of Coburg, it will show the 3% of the levy that is contingent, that could be transferred for 2024, approximate, because of course our budget hasn't passed, but we have to have these done by December 31st. So it will show that, and then it would show the watershed monitoring under category 2 for $5,000, because that's what we've been doing for Coburg. In Clarington and Hamilton Township. Category 3 would show $20,000 as well as $20,000 for the Clean Water Healthy Land program that you have for your landowners for financial assistance. So that would show in the schedule. So it's really just taking those programs out of the budget, saying these are category 2 because we took them in consultation with you, and then putting them on this schedule and signing an MOU, a formal MOU that says, yes, we'll provide funding for that. Now, it's going to say in the covering letter and on the Schedule A, it's going to say Schedule A, 2024 budget, that is contingent upon the municipalities passing these budgets at the end of their budget year. These are subject to change because we're not going to presume that you're still going to do this project. But because we've got a December 31st deadline, we have to, and we just got a note September 7th from MNRF saying, remember, you got to get these done. They got to be based on 2024. Now, I will let you know that Durham Region has reached out to us and they've said, could you all ask, there's 5 conservation authorities in Durham Region. Could you all please ask for an extension to January 31st, 2024 to have the MOU signed? They're not convinced that they will be ready because there's 5 of them to have it all coordinated by December 31st. I've assured them, I wrote back to them and said, our MOU is going to the board on Thursday. We're going to have it out to you. We're not all the 5 CAs are in the same position that we are, but we're going to have it out to them. So I said we will apply for an extension, but that's what the memorandum of understanding is. It's not going to cause an increase in levy other than what you vote on. And it's not going to be, and this is in Ganaraska's case. I won't speak to the other CAs, but in Ganaraska's case, there will be no increase in levy or program dollars or anything. It's just a way of presenting the same information in a more formal manner and taking those programs and putting them into 1, 2, and 3. So, Mr. Chair, if there's any questions, I would be happy to answer.
Any questions for Linda on this? Anyone? Miriam? Yes?
Yeah, just thank you very much for the details on this and the subsequent item. My question is, so will the MOU, when it's, if this board passes this, will for each municipality be drafted to include the name of the municipality as opposed to participating municipality, and then Schedule A will be drawn up as you described to respect each. Okay, so that will be sent upon approval. That would be sent to the municipality. Is it your intention, for example, if we use Coburg as an example, that you would copy Randy and I? So that we know that it's been sent?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yes, the intent is that we will be sending these through to your CAOs. And in most cases, in some cases, we're going to copy the clerk. Not in all cases, just because some of the, anyways, but and then we will copy the member as well. So you will know. And yes, there are blanks here. So it won't be dated, but the part where it says municipality of, we will fill in, it would say Fort Hope, it would say Clarington, it would say town of Coburg or municipality of Coburg, whatever the name is, they're then called participating municipality. Schedule A will be specific to that municipality. So there will be actually, we have 7 municipalities in Whole and part within our watershed, and then we have the region of Durham. So we will be sending this to all 7 plus the region of Durham. It will be up to Clarington whether they want to sign it, whether Clarington and Durham want to sign it. That will be up to them on how they want to handle it. But and then if it has to go through to your councils, again, that will be up to how you handle each of those items within your municipality. But the letter says that we're sending this out for your review. We are then going to reach out to each CAO and have them say to them, do you want to set up a meeting to go through this, so that we can then sit down and say, this is what we're doing, this is our budget, this is the way it used to look. Now it's looking like this, and we're just, this is here in category 1, this is here in category 2, and this is here in category 3. So that they, it's taken us probably 18 months to wrap our heads around category 1, 2, and 3. And we're still, we believe we've got it right, but we're still open to discussion down the road if somebody says, I think that should be in category 3, or that should be, but we think we've got it right. So.
Any further questions for Linda? Okay, there being none, I'll read the motion that's before us, and that the board of directors approves the memorandum of understanding that the appendices be forwarded to the watershed municipalities. Have a move to do that, please. Graham, seconder. Randy, all in favor? All in favor, carried. Okay, now, next up, we have program and services inventory. Staff report attached. And Linda, are you going to go through this one again?
I will speak to this through you, Mr. Chair. The board may recall, and I'm trying to think, it was in February, it was the annual meeting in February of 2022 that we took the draft programs and services inventory. So it was probably, was it your first meeting or was it? I don't.
You were, I think, no, it was October of 2022 was when the auction was.
Okay, so you didn't see this.
So
So what's happened is, again, through the regulations, as I've said, we had to categorize each program into category 1, 2, and 3. So then what we had to do was list each of our programs, categorize them, and then we were supposed to do a 5-year average to give the estimated program costs of each. And then do the funding mechanism to say, is it self-generated, is it municipal levy, is it, how is it how do you meet those program costs? So in our case, because, and in a lot of CA's cases, because COVID had affected the budgets of most of the conservation authorities, we decided that a 5-year average was not reasonable because budgets had, during 2021, and 2020 had changed dramatically. So we did ours based on an estimate when we first did it of 2022. This is based on the cost estimate of 2023. So again, it's a cost estimate. All our program areas fluctuate from one year to the next, but it is a complete listing of all our programs and services. And like the first page, our corporate services, they were called enabling services, and now they've, I think they're calling them enabling, but they are using, categorizing the monies funded as general levy. So those just support all the programs. The category 1 are all the other mandatory programs. And then, as I've said, the category 3 or 2 are those that we do hand in hand with the municipalities. And then the category 3 are generally our stewardship programs, as well as the outdoor education program. And part of the Ganaraska Forest falls into category 3 because the timber is not mandatory. Our conservation lands are mandatory programs, and they are funded a lot through levy dollars because we do not have admittance fees into all of our CAs. The Ganaraska Forest, there is a membership program, and there is a timber operation that's active. So we've had to pull those dollars away and show them separately as category 3. But when we maintain the lands, for the safety of the users and doing patrolling and different, those are classified as a category 1 type of expense. So that's where that got a little bit complicated. But this is a listing. And the only thing we changed actually from our original listing last February, besides the change from the natural heritage review that we can't do anymore. So we had to pull that out. We dropped that program. And we moved the clean water, healthy lands. We had interpreted that as a category 2. And we've since found that it should probably be listed as a category 3. So we did change that to a category 3. But the same effect on the budget, or no effect because it's the same dollar. So what we have to do now is ask for approval. We circulate this to the board or to our municipalities, and it has to go up on our website. I also will say that all the memorandums of understanding, when they are passed, they do have to be, they have to go up on our website. That's part of the legislation. And it's part of, open and transparent, our budget. Everything is up on our website under governance. So anybody can find any of our financial documents on our website, as well as the draft programs and services inventory. And then the final one will also go up on our website.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Now, is there any comments or questions? I'm reading quite a detailed report. Gives everyone an idea of what we do, which is kind of an advantage maybe to doing all of this. Anyone? Okay, then I'll read the motion that the Board of Directors approve the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority's programs and services inventory, and further that the Conservation Authority Board of Directors direct staff to just distribute the programs and services inventory to the member municipalities and the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry, as well as it be posted on the GRCA website. Mover to do that, please. Mover. Adam, seconder Lance, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And now the real hard one, the preliminary budget criteria. We can speak to this one.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. As the report states, so I believe the board, I'll just take you through the process for the budget. Normally the criteria comes in at this meeting. Once a criteria has been set by the board, staff prepare the budget based on that criteria. The preliminary budget then comes into the board of directors at the October meeting. If approved for circulation, based on the levy only, not necessarily the programs, because our final budget is not passed until April, and that's after all our municipalities have passed their budgets. We do not presume to say, oh, we're going to be doing, a storm sewer analysis for this municipality without you approving your budget. So we always are respectful of that and don't bring our final budget in until April. However, the levy for your municipality is voted in November. The last week we changed the schedule up normally, as long as we can get the 30 days in, because we have to have 30 days to circulate the levy and the preliminary budget document, because your municipalities get 30 days minimum to review those. So this is a staff report. Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority is one of 3 conservation authorities, maybe 4 more changing, that does have a base levy. A base levy is based on, in our case, roughly the board costs or administrative costs. It works out to be, currently it's $15,933. That is divided by 7, the 7 municipalities, so that there is a base levy. And that really what that means is each municipality has the opportunity to be chair or vice chair, and the honorariums that would cover the honorarium. If we didn't have a base levy, there could be municipalities within our watershed that could pay, less than our honorariums, yet they all have that opportunity. So the base levy is nothing new to this conservation authority. It was here when I came in 1984. The base levy is divided, as I said, divided by 7. And then the calculation that we get from the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry, that's called the current value assessment. We are giving a spreadsheet that says how much of the percentage is in our watershed. And that's where we do the calculation for the rest of the municipal levy, and then it's added to that base. So what we're suggesting with discussions with chair is that the budget criteria be set at 3.3 increase for both the base and the general levy. We have normally kept our general levy at 2 or 2.5, and that's been below our costs and the increases that we've seen. So we encourage that we ask for at the time it was 3.3, it's gone up higher, but we're still saying 3.3 for the budget criteria. And so the budget would be based on that for the levy. And then so just so you're aware too, there is a CVC adjustment that could affect the levy for your municipality. I haven't looked at it to see if it's an increase or decrease. We did get the numbers in.
What's CVC, I'm sorry?
Sorry, that's my fault.
That's all right.
Current value assessment.
Gotcha.
So
Yep.
we get a spreadsheet in, as I've said, and it shows the population within the watershed. It's based on the growth within each of your municipalities. And it says whether, for instance, Durham, Clarington their rate is probably at 52.83% or something that they pay of the levy. Now, when it comes to the vote, nobody gets over a 50% vote, but we'll deal with that in November when I explain that. But it lays out the percentage that each municipality pays, and that's called the current value assessment, and it's modified by MNRF. I don't know how they modify it, but and so we call it CVC. So it's a CVC adjustment. CVA, I'm sorry, CVA, current value assessment, CVA. Too many acronyms, so it's a current value assessment adjustment.
Any other questions for Linda? Joan, yes?
Just so I'm understanding through you, Mr. Chair. Over last year, then the increase for Alderman Coleman would be 3.3%.
Maybe.
Other than
the current value assessment, yes. Yes.
Our overall budget for the GRCA is 3.3% increase. Your percent may change a little bit.
Just based on if your growth has gone down and your growth may have gone up, but compared to other municipalities, somebody's may have gone up more. Durham's tends to go up. And then it takes, unfortunately for Durham, not for everybody else, but your increase may not be 3.3%.
Randy?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, right? So you're basically saying that you're giving the municipalities an indication of the 3.3%. Of course, they have the right to, when they begin their budgeting, et cetera, to look at that. But you're trying to give them a bit of the headway, if you will, I use that term, to understand where we might be coming from as far as that's required.
No.
Okay.
So we do with our capital projects, yes, with those category 2 and 3. The general levy, because we vote on the general levy in November. So in October, the budget comes in and it will have you'll see each of what that means to your municipality, because CVC calculation, CVA, I don't know why I keep saying CVA, the current value assessment calculation will be shown also within the general levy proposed. That goes out in a letter to your municipalities, and this is what we follow every year. And we say, here, please find the enclosed preliminary budget. You will see that, the calculation for the proposed levy is this. The vote will be done November 23rd, 2023. Once that vote is done, it is binding. This board can bind, and you're voting on behalf of the Conservation Authority while representing the municipality, but you're still looking after the well-being of the Conservation Authority. So that is binding. Every municipality has a right to go and appeal to I think it's the OMB now, or is it the Lands Tribunal? So that mechanism is still in place, as it always is. And then, as I said, with the other programs and services, that's where we, speak to your staff and see what's good for your municipality, and then we don't finalize the budget until, but the levy is, and that's so that January 1st, at least the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority, as well as other conservation authorities, know what their levy are at the beginning of the year. Because we never know any other funding, except we generally know we get $51,863 from the province.
It amazes me that they know that.
Yeah. Unless they decide to decrease that, but we generally know those two numbers.
Okay, anyone else with any other questions? Okay, I have a mover then that we go forward with the 3.3% increase, and that staff be directed to prepare the 2024 preliminary budget based on the criteria contained within the staff report and that's dated September the 21st, 2023. The preliminary budget be prepared for the October 19th, 2023 meeting. Mover to do that, please. Mover Jones, seconder Lance, all in favor? Carry. And we go to other business. We have the GRCA board members tour. And then you want to speak to it before we decide on the date, or?
Yeah, it's pretty well, I believe at the last meeting or the May meeting, there was an indication that we could do a tour of the forest. So looking at, some of the forestry operations and then some of the trails. I'm suggesting, or staff are suggesting, that it could take place, and we're open to other suggestions. It could take place that we meet out at the Ganaraska Forest Center. Unfortunately, I looked to see if we could possibly hold a meeting out there. Just want to let Bruce back in. But the center is booked, so we would still either have to come back in here for a meeting, or you could go to your respective places and do it as a hybrid. But that we do it's about a 2.5 hour tour. We would get people out in our trucks, and staff would show a few of the areas just to show the forest. So we were suggesting either before the October meeting or the November meeting.
So do you want
I'm open for, you might want to, for discussion or whatever you like, Mr. Chair.
board members with it? I know it's a bit early, but availability for October, November. Going to be our regular day anyway, so thoughts, anyone? Adam, yes?
Mr. Chair, the November one would be what, November 16th?
Yeah, the October is the 19th and November is the 16th.
So I would recommend for myself, at least, October and November, we are doing our athletic wall of honor event, which I will be at. So I will not be able to attend in November.
Okay, so we're looking at October 19th. Is everyone fairly free for October the 19th? Tracy is, Bruce, and Bruce probably yes. Willie, yes. Lance is yes. Willie's yes. Okay, Mark, you available? Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, okay. Randy, yes.
Mhm.
Joan, yes.
Yep, that's
Graham,
good.
yes. Vicky, yes. So we're gonna go.
So roughly 1 o'clock, and
1
then we
o'clock.
would go into our meeting at 4.
We would go into our meeting at 4.
Okay, yeah.
So 1 o'clock till 3:30 is what we're thinking. Then it gives people travel time either back here or to your respective homes if you're doing a hybrid. If I can, as I said, I looked there, we're booked. If I can book the weekend kitchen, we could do it in the weekend kitchen out there. But I'll look at that further.
So we're set up for October the 19th. We don't need a motion for that. And we're going to our public question period. Anything, Linda, anyone contact you? There being none. No one camera. There must be a motion to adjourn. Vicky. We are adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Very good. Lots to cover. And great job. Thank you, staff.
Thank you.